Uncle Marv here with another episode of the Unhealthy Podcast. And this is the show where we try to take all those things in our life that are considered unhealthy and we turn them around and make them healthy. From diet and exercise, mind, body, and spirit, anything that's going on that we can fix, we will fix. And this is my journey. And today I have brought back Coach Elle, and we're going to talk about relationships and how to keep those happy. Coach, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
All right. So when we last spoke, we basically gave everybody an overview of what you do. We got a little bit into your history and how you got started. And the focus of what you do is help people get to and maintain healthy relationships.
Yes, correct.
All right. So in a terms of like somebody that just reaches out to you, what's the most typical scenario where somebody actually gets to the point where they need Coach Elle?
I have different scenarios. I have clients who are in their 20s and they wanted to understand how to invite a new or a long-lasting life partnership in their life. I have clients who in the middle of thinking about divorce or not, they want to kind of make up their mind. I have clients who have been divorced for many, many years and now kind of looking to see how they can invite the new life partner. So it's just people are in different places of their life.
All right. Now, have we gotten to a point in society where, you know, the values that we place on dating relationships, have you noticed a huge shift in recent years?
I mean, I can talk about everybody's energy is different. So my energy and people that kind of come to my side of the energy that I have are the people who are really thinking about what they want in their life and understand that the relationship that they had in the past or the relationship that they're looking to bring to their life is sustainable and how they can make it sustainable. So I think people are more conscious and like to make more conscious decisions now versus before. I had a client who called me the other day and I said, "Oh my God, I understand." I coached her last year and then she, frequently I see her every other month and then she said, "Oh my God, I had such a huge eye opening." And I said, "So what is it?" I said, "I realized that the biggest reason that I stayed in my marriage for 30 some years was because I loved the house that we lived in." And I said, "So what do you think now?" And he said, "You know what? Because her relationship with the husband never worked out. But then she could see it totally, vividly, openly today that was the main reason that she stayed. And it wasn't because of that interaction or what her needs were satisfied emotionally." So it's interesting to see that, when you do the work, then everything else opens up and you understand the truth of your behavior or actions and you understand your needs.
It's easy for people like us to look at celebrities who, in a sense, have that happen all the time. They're in love with the lifestyle or they're put in a situation where they're, part of a, tightly packed situation where they see each other all the time, 8, 10, 12 hours a day while they're shooting movies. They think they're in love. And then when they have to start to, live with each other away from that movie set, it's like, oh, we're really not as compatible as we thought. But I can see where, yes, the trappings of lifestyle and, staying together because of a house or, God forbid the kids or something like that. I could see that happening.
Yes. So, the Calling in the One book and the coaching process of it, it just actually helps you understand who you are and what you want to bring to your life. And it just gives you that understanding of that interaction with yourself, because it has to be in a space, you have to be in a space of understanding of what your needs are, what makes you happy. And the first step is that. So you asked me to talk about how the process works. So I guess today I coach my clients. I can go through it just.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, go ahead.
Yeah, let's lay out what we're doing. So Coach Elle and I are going to be spending a few weeks, and we're going to be talking about relationships. And she has on her website, I should probably have mentioned that earlier, hearttoheartcoaching.org. And that is heart and the number 2, hearttoheartcoaching.org. And there is a Calling in the One that we are going to be focusing on. And it is a program, like she said, that basically, puts us all in the position to understand, putting aside our unhealthy experiences, identifying, our own feelings and stuff. And normally this is what, a 7-week course that you teach?
Yes, it's a 7-week course. And each week, we kind of concentrate. I say these are the heart, not the homework, it's a heart work. And they read the book or the first chapter, the first step of the book, or I'm actually putting together a group coaching program that everything is on videos that I'm going to put together. And it's going to come out on end of October. So November 1st would be it would be available if anybody wants to join.
All right. So we'll obviously get a link for that. But right now we're going to kind of get a little snippet of each of those courses. And so week 1, I guess, is where we would be right now. And it's called Preparing for Love.
Yes. So Preparing for Love. So the first, I guess, lesson, the first step that comes up is in this Preparing for Love, we focus on preparing yourself internally for love, which is we look at your past baggages, wound, negative patterns that has come up repeatedly and has holding you back to bring that ideal life partner. So I encourage my clients to self-reflect and then release that limiting beliefs that has been holding them back about love and relationships. So the activities mostly is journaling, looking at the past relationships, and then we practice forgiveness toward, ourselves and others, and then we look at self-care and self-love practices. So these are the activities. So the week 1 consists of 7 lessons. And I'm going to go briefly about each lesson. So, Marv, if you have any question, just let me know. So the first lesson is about expanding your capacity to love and be loved. And it's mainly understanding what does the intimate relationship means to you today. Is it if you're required to open your heart and authentically and maintaining your independence, but at the same time, stay true to opening your heart and being yourself, but inviting your new ideal partner.
That sounds pretty interesting to have somebody sit down and truly define what does intimacy mean to me. Because of course the first thought is always going to be, well, I want somebody to be affectionate and somebody I'm compatible with. But part of me, I'm older. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But that's probably something I could not have done early in my life.
Yes. So it's understandable. And I would really invite the younger generation to look at what they need inside of themselves before they get involved. Right now, everybody is online and on their phone. So it would be interesting to see how they can reflect before they get into any relationship. So it just basically, if you're looking at embracing to be authentic in the relationship, including and embracing your beauty, your failures, your flaws, anything, and then being able to share that with your partner and accept his or her flaws or failures or beauty, everything. Because relationship, it's not just all the good times. It has up and down.
All right. And that's part of, so expanding capacity. First, you've got to know where you are and what you want, and then being able to accept what may come from the other person.
Yes. So it's, we have some exercises to just open yourself up to fully give and receive love. Okay. So that's the exercise that we go through on that first lesson.
Okay.
So lesson 2, it's understanding that we are energetically connected to everyone and everything. I mean, I have an example of one of the clients that I worked with. She was really kind of introvert into herself. And so we talked about how can she embrace and understand that she's really, her energy is kind of connected to other people. I said, I asked her a question. I said, when you go grocery shopping, do you look into people's eyes and just say hello when you're passing by the aisles? Or you just like go in and just come out and because it can be that you will meet your partner just buying milk or cheese or whatever. And she said, oh no, and I said, why don't I invite you to just try it this time that you go and just say hello. We don't have to open a conversation, but see the reaction of the other person when you say hello and you smile. And that energy that should have just kind of goes in and out. Just look at that. And it was interesting. She did that. I said, oh my God, I can't believe I tried the first time. She couldn't do it. And then the second time she really put herself out there. And she said, yes, it was such a great feeling when the other person smiles and says hello. So, that's one of the exercises. That's something that you can do and see how the energy flows, that you're connected with everything and everybody.
All right. So now on the flip side of that, for people that are the extroverts and are naturally open to engaging with people, for those people, when they think that, oh, I can't find the one, what's wrong with me? I mean, what's the kind of an exercise for that side?
Maybe there would be a way that they can like sit down and understand and listen, communicate. And part of communication is listening. So when somebody is very talkative, somehow then they don't listen what the other person is saying deeply. So I invite them to, sit back and just kind of consciously say, okay, I'm going to listen deeply of what the other person is talking about. And if I don't understand what the meaning of what is she saying, then I would say, you know what, I couldn't quite understand this part of it. Can you kind of explain to me what does that mean to you? And maybe I understand it for me. And it will just kind of, that conversation will flow more easily, and then your energies will go kind of hand in hand.
All right. So understanding our connection to other people through our energy, through our actions, through our communications. You actually made the comment about the girl walking down the aisle. There's got to be that verbal and nonverbal communication as well.
Yes, exactly. So I invite my clients to kind of open themselves up and consciously generate a feeling of connection and care with all of those that are around them. It can be your neighbor, it can be your friend, your student, your husband, your wife. I mean, that generosity of compassion, attentiveness can start a more deeper connection with the other person.
Okay. What's the next step?
So next step is lesson 3 is accessing the power to manifest a miracle. So basically, it's getting into a place of possibility where you can actually imagine yourself in a happy, healthy, loving relationship. And then we look at those patterns that have stopped you, that it looks that love is impossible for you. And the questions comes up that, oh, you know what, love is kind of never for me. I was in a relationship or in the past, or, you know, the childhood traumas comes up that, my brother always kind of, hurt me. I was abandoned. I was abused, you know, all that stuff comes up, and then we go through it one by one. And then I had clients who did meditation, they went to therapists and for years and years, but it didn't open up. They couldn't open up themselves to invite that love to their life. They were just always in that space of, I am the victim. But in order to access the power of manifesting that miracle, is we have to step back and see the pattern clearly and begin to see how the pattern is actually happening through us and not to us. Like when you say, I'm always alone, nobody chooses me. I can give you an example. If you're the one that think that you're always alone, nobody chooses you, and you always stay home, you don't want to interact, let's look at it. Let's look at your pattern. So if you're the one who gets invited and like 90% of the time you say no and you don't go, or there is some classes that you wanted to take, but you just don't go to those classes, or there's stuff that you need to get yourself involved, but you don't do it. So, and then you say, oh, I'm always alone. I was one of them. I always thought that I'm always alone. But when you open yourself up and you start, like for example, when I took a class, I promised myself that I'm going to raise my hand. This is many years ago. Raise my hand, ask questions. So this way I would get more people asking me questions after class. And then I will have more friends and have more interactions. And it just kind of has effect coming up after that.
So as you're going through that and you're talking about the thoughts that we have that might be holding us back, is it the manifesting that is the hardest part, or is it believing that it's a miracle the hardest part?
The hardest part is understanding that those incidents happened 30, 20, 10 years ago and has nothing to do with today. And understanding that today you have the capacity, you have the meaning, the capacity, the way of being at your present moment.
Right.
And not that victim of the past. And then when you get to that space and understand that and you really embody it, then manifesting and bringing miracles to yourself, it becomes easier.
Okay. So in a sense, though, I'm trying to understand, to get to the point where you can manifest the relation happening, you still got to get rid of all the thoughts, whether they're 10 years ago, 30 years ago. So in a sense, it looks like you don't get to those in lesson number 1 or 2. So I guess I'm trying to understand, how can you manifest something if you haven't dumped the baggage?
So that's why we do self-reflection. So
Okay.
I give them, there is questions that they can answer. Like, for example, what are the recurring patterns or behaviors in your past relationship that you recognize as negative? How have your actions, thoughts, or emotions contributed to these negative patterns? For example, if you get to a space and you're having a discussion, and instead of leaving the room, when you get to a point that you cannot talk anymore or you get emotional, maybe the way would be, I'm not able to process my emotions at the moment, and I understand what you're talking about. But give me 1 hour, give me half a day. Let me go for a walk. Let me just kind of reflect on this. And then can we talk about this in 5 hours or tomorrow or in an hour? I know, whenever you think that you'll be comfortable to talk about it. Because people they just kind of go ahead and just talk and talk and talk without even relaxing and understanding what the other person is talking about. Maybe it will be easier that he will self-reflect, she will self-reflect, and then come back in 4 hours and talk about it again, process it. So that's part of it.
Okay. All right. On to step 4.
So yes, so step 4. I guess part of step 3 is also to look at your needs and emotions. Because a lot of times, I'm actually given a sheet that has all this. I ask my clients, I said, what is your need in a relationship? They don't know. We have to kind of step by step. Is honesty a need for you? The partner has to be honest. What is it that it's a non-negotiable needs that you have, that you want in a partner? You have to have those clear. So I give them like a sheet that they have to really think about and write down all the needs, all the feelings that those needs kind of brings to them, and embody those emotions and understand that these are the needs that they have. And then they communicate that, if you're dating someone and at the beginning and say, honesty is very important for me. So if anything that goes on, and if please just be honest with me. That would be something that you can talk about that. You're smiling.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, there's 7 lessons in part number 1, and we've already got a lot of work that we're doing in terms of...
it's self-reflection. So if you really want to have a partner it's in your balance, it's in your space, then you have to know yourself and understand what your needs and emotions are, and befriend all those needs and emotions. Right. And it's a step by step. Yes, it's a lot of work, but it goes fast, and it's easy after a while when you read the book, or when we come back and we do process it together with my clients. They're very clear about what their needs are and what they want in a relationship. Not at the beginning.
Okay. So I have a question, and I hope it doesn't take us too far off course, but do you have situations where people get to this stage and they're starting to reflect, they're starting to look at what they perceive their needs are? And do you ever get to a point where people are maybe not honest with what their wants and needs are, or they just can't get to a point where they know what they want or need?
I have a sheet that it's all the questions before even they become my client. They have to answer. And one of the promises is that to be honest to themselves. And if they want to do the work, that means you have to be honest with yourself. And that's the key, because if they're not honest to themselves, why are we doing this work?
All right.
So yes.
I promise to be honest.
Yes. I mean, it gets, I don't know how to explain it, but it gets in a way that people who come and really want to work on themselves and really bring that love to their life, they're in a place that they do want to change. And that's what happens. That's their intention. We're going to go to number 4. That's the
okay.
intention.
All right. Let's move along. Maybe my questions will be answered. So lesson 4.
Yeah. So lesson 4 is just setting your intention. So the intention would be that, like, I give you an example. My intention is to manifest a loving, kind, communicative life partner to my life by or before, I don't know, December 2024, something like that. I usually tell them to have some kind of a window of time, and because of their needs, then that intention will. I want somebody communicative. I want somebody who's kind. I want somebody this, that. So then it will become clear. That would become my intention of that partnership that I want to bring to my life.
All right. So sounds like they need to have very precise intentions.
Yes. I mean, then the intentions can change. If you go to the, I don't know, 3rd week and say, oh, you know what, I want to add something. It happened that we have some interactions. And I said, remember, because that intention, every time that I meet with them, I read that intention. Because remember, your intention is this. Let's talk about it. And then when we talk about it, I said, okay, you know what we're talking about today, do you want to add something to your intention? And they say, oh, yes, let's add this and that, or minus this. And it's something that it's a work in progress.
Right. And I imagine that there are times where people will have an intention and realize that as they're pursuing this, okay, that probably was the wrong intention that I put down, because that's not what's actually happening.
Yes, they have 7 weeks to modify it and see where they want, what the intention should be. But usually we just start from the first week to think about the intention, especially when they know their needs. So they can kind of base it on their needs.
Okay. Well, that step sounds pretty simple.
Yes. There's practices and stuff on there too. So lesson 5 is honoring your needs for others. So sometimes people think, you know what, I don't need anybody. I don't want anybody. I don't need anybody. But the actual truth about it is, as human beings, we do need each other. We need to know that we belong, that we are valued, we are respected, and we are loved. So we made that clear in this part of the journey.
Go ahead. I have a question, but I don't want to jump in too early.
No, go ahead.
So part of me thinks that there's a lot of people that probably are so focused on proving that they don't need somebody, but yet they want to be with somebody. So how does that get reconciled where, I'm trying to ask this politely because there are a lot of people that say, I don't need somebody, but I want somebody. Those are two different things that in my mind, almost can't coexist together.
So yes, some people, those are the people who are love avoidant.
Okay.
Because we do need people in our lives. We just need to be with other human beings. It's just, we're not like after a day at home on Zoom, I would love to be sitting down and have a cup of coffee with a friend, or, just have a conversation. We, as humans, we do need to be interactive. Marv, what do you think about that?
Well, we do. I mean, I know that there's times where I need alone time, but then yes, I have to be with people, mainly because of work and mainly because of social interaction to have fun. You got to be around people to have fun. Yet there's some fun you can have by yourself, but most of the good fun is with other people. I've heard that we're in a weird time because, in years past, we always had the idea of community where, the community provided for some of our needs of companionship. And now we are in a world where people are like, well, the person that's going to be with me is going to be my everything. And that's almost too much for one person.
Right. I mean, truthfully, look at Instagram. There people have followers of millions. And I had a client, young man, that he was texting with this lady for like 3 months. And all of a sudden, or like he would text and then she wouldn't answer for like, 5 days. And he was, so in our interaction, he said, he was upset. That's why. And I said, so what is your need in a relationship? And he said, I want to go have dinner and have lunch or have coffee with my significant other. And that's, I said, okay, so let me ask you this question. So this past, when she didn't answer you for 5 days, and this has been 3 months going the same way, did you ask her to let's go have dinner or let's have coffee? And he said, she lives, 3 hours away. I said, I understand. Then another question is, why would you think that you want to be with someone who lives, 1,000 miles away from you, or 500 miles away from you? And when I asked that, his eyes like opened up and it was like, I said, yes. So what is your need in a relationship? Is it your need is to see that person once a week, twice a week, talk to them on the phone a couple of times a week to start that interaction? So these are the things that we have to understand. Some people like to see their significant others, or they're starting a relationship once a week. Some people, I wanted to see you every day after a month. So it just depends, and it has to be mutual. So it will work eventually.
I'm surprised somebody that's on Instagram waited for 5 days. It's usually if somebody doesn't respond in 5 minutes, they're going berserk.
It was texting.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that, yes, it's just the interactions on Instagram. It's like fast and there's thousands of people. But then when you want to have a relationship, a love relationship, even a friendship, say, okay, I see my friend once a month. We go have lunch and we talk about everything. So then that's a friendship that you want. So it's all about your needs.
All right. I'm just making a note here. I want to come back to this another time, talking about the difference between online versus offline. That's
okay.
a weird little world for us right now. So,
yes.
All right. So lesson 5, honoring your need for others.
Yes. So lesson 6 is cultivating a vision of love fulfilled. So this is like imagining what kind of relationship you want. So I invite my clients to do some meditation and like visioning about how the relationship, what kind of relationship they want, how does it look, how does it feel. So we go through that exercise or sometimes a vision board. So it will become more and more understandable of exactly what they're looking for. And then they feel it. That's it. This is something that feels good for me. And that's how everybody has their own ways of knowing what they want in their life.
Okay. So this kind of feels like it's an extension of lesson 3, where you talk about manifesting your miracle. This is making that more concrete. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's step by step, exactly. So we work through it like one by one to get a space of understanding exactly what we are looking for. Then the last lesson 7, it's basically getting, let's see, what does it say? Preparing your home for love, making the space for love. So a lot of times I ask my clients, okay, so in your living room, do you have only like one chair? So imagine if your partner is coming to visit, where is he or she is going to sit?
Oh.
So understanding that, you're opening your home and yourself and preparing yourself to bring that person to your life. So I have two chairs, table. I mean, even you went to in the book talks about how to prepare your bedroom for somebody to come and be with you. So you're just opening, or like your closet, if you have a space that you can dedicate for the person that is coming to your life. Just looking at the space every day when you're picking your outfit for work or to go out, and say, okay, you know what? So your mind is kind of preparing yourself to bringing that person to your life.
I imagine that would tend to expand more than just, the physical space. You're talking about, how you interact in terms of maybe picking up the person in a car instead of a motorcycle or something like that, right?
Yes, if your car can sit 2 people comfortably.
Well, I mean, some people like the tiny little sports cars, and, you want to be comfortable when you're going out and stuff. Or, like you said, having a space, for somebody else on a regular basis, having, a love seat and a couch, something bigger than a twin bed.
Yes, exactly. So it's just like preparing yourself in your house to invite that person to your life. So it's just step by step, and you look at it. It's amazing how people, when we go through these steps, at the end they're smiling. At the beginning, they're just like, "Oh my God, no, none of my relationships has worked." But then step by step, when they understand what's going on and they open themselves up to invite love to their life, even that person is not there yet, but they can see it.
So I imagine that part of the difficulty is trying to imagine the space before you even have somebody to imagine in that space. Do you find that people have that difficulty?
No. So we do exercises together. So one of the exercises that I do is the homework is to imagine if you're with your beloved. How does it feel like? How does it taste like? How does it, all that emotions. And then when we're together, we do the exercise together, and I invite them to close their eyes and imagine to be with that person. And as I said, at the beginning, they're just looking at me, or they're not, but there's no emotions. But at the end, when they imagine that person with them and the feelings are there, they're smiling.
Wow. And this is all week 1.
Yes.
So 7 lessons in week 1, starting with expanding capacity, all the way through step 7, preparing your home or space for love. That's a lot.
But by the way, that's why for calling in the one, I recommend 12 weeks, because sometimes, especially lesson 3, week 3 is a little bit more deeper.
Okay.
So yes, so that's why they can have more time. We can meet every 2 weeks, so they can do all the lessons, or we have. I invite them to do 12 sessions instead of 7.
All right. So we have flown through what would be week 1 or so of calling in the one, the process of, well, this sounds basically like it's really self-discovery.
Exactly.
And
exactly. Yes.
Figuring ourselves out, understanding and learning how to manifest the life that we truly want and desire. And
and Marv, for each individual person is different, and it's understanding that exploring and loving yourself first, caring for yourself first. I had a client that I gave him the mirror work, so every morning I invited him to look into his eyes and tell himself that I love you, and he couldn't do it for the first few weeks. He had a hard time. But eventually, slowly, he could do it. So it just, if you don't love yourself and you don't know what your needs are, how can you bring the other person to your life and love them?
All right. Well, folks, there you have it. This is coming to the end of our first session. We're going to be doing all 7 parts of this, which could be a 12-week course. And if you are interested already, you can head over to hearttoheartcoaching.org. There is a tab for calling in the one. You can book a call and talk to Coach Elle and find out more, or just tune in to our future episodes as we dig a little deeper into this and get you through the entire process so you know what it is that you're doing. But
I actually offer, I'm sorry, Marv, I'm actually offer a 30-minute complimentary call so we can talk about it and see if you have any other questions. All
right. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time today and look forward to our next session. And we'll keep doing these. And I like the quote on your website that says that miracles happen when you open your heart.
Yes.
So
thank you.
That's what we'll do, folks. That's going to do it for this episode of the Unhealthy Podcast. Join us again where we have Coach Elle back on and we get into lesson 2, which will be completing your past. And we'll be back with that soon. Until then, I hope you guys have fun. But this is a show where we hope that we help you to live healthy and be happy. See you next time.